If you look at the promotional posters for the monumental Spring 2026 anime season, and you genuinely, unironically believe that Witch Hat Atelier is just a cute, wholesome, family-friendly, magical girl anime about a little kid drawing pretty pictures in a spell book, your media literacy is officially on fraud watch. You have been completely blinded by the breathtaking watercolor aesthetics, the cozy wizard hats, and the cottagecore vibes. For decades, the anime industry has relied on the exact same mentor archetype. We get the goofy, overpowered, secret badass teachers like Kakashi Hatake, Satoru Gojo, and Jiraiya. But Kamome Shirahama looked at that exhausted trope and completely inverted it. She created Qifrey, a man who looks like the ultimate soft-spoken golden retriever father figure, but who is actually operating as one of the most ruthless, manipulative, and psychologically damaged sociopaths in modern fantasy. Today, we are ripping off the nice guy mask, exposing the horrific reality of how he weaponizes children, and proving exactly why Qifrey makes the darkest anime villains look like absolute amateurs. Welcome back to the agenda. If you are currently tabbed out, grinding your daily missions in Helldivers 2, or mindlessly scrolling through Twitter on your second monitor, tab back in right now. I need your full, undivided auditory attention because we are about to do a serious college-level psychological autopsy on the most deceptive character of 2026. Today, we are completely dismantling the cozy fantasy agenda. We are breaking down the horrifying, strict totalitarian laws of the pointed cap witches. We are exposing the absolute genius of the brimmed caps, terrorist grooming tactics, and dissecting the terrifying secret behind Qifrey's missing eye that completely recontextualizes his relationship with Coco. We are also going to look at the massive community meltdown surrounding episode 8 of the anime and analyze exactly why Studio Bug Films intentionally delayed this masterpiece to avoid the industry's catastrophic production crisis. So grab a notebook, turn up your volume to the absolute maximum, and let's step into the atelier to figure out why the warmest smiles always hide the deepest, most irredeemable trauma. Let's start with truth bomb number 1. Witch Hat Atelier is the single greatest narrative bait and switch of the entire decade. If you are a 25 to 34-year-old male anime fan, you are likely completely exhausted by the modern fantasy landscape. We are drowning in a sea of generic, low-budget isekai adaptations where the protagonist gets hit by a truck, inherits a smartphone, and instantly becomes the most powerful wizard in the world. It requires absolutely zero critical thinking. When you first look at Witch Hat Atelier, your brain immediately categorizes it alongside Studio Ghibli films like Kiki's Delivery Service or Howl's Moving Castle. It follows a young, optimistic girl named Coco who accidentally discovers the secret of magic and is taken in by a gentle, handsome wizard named Qifrey. Do not let the cozy aesthetic fool you. Beneath the breathtaking cottagecore exterior lies an incredibly sinister, dark fantasy conspiracy regarding forbidden magic, bodily mutation, and totalitarian government control. In this universe, magic is tightly regulated by a ruthless authoritarian police force known as the Knights Morales. They are not the good guys. If an unauthorized civilian learns how magic works, the Knights Morales do not just give them a slap on the wrist. They hunt them down and violently, permanently erase their memories, effectively lobotomizing them to protect the ruling class's monopoly on power. When Qifrey takes Coco in as his apprentice, he is directly defying this totalitarian law. On the surface, it looks like a noble, heroic act of rebellion to save a little girl. But as the story peels back its layers, you realize that Qifrey didn't take Coco in because he is a generous, loving teacher. He took her in because she is the ultimate irresistible bait for a terrorist organization. We are about to break down the exact complex psychological manipulation that Qifrey inflicts on his students. But let's be brutally honest for a second. Half of you watching this can't even comprehend the geopolitical lore I'm about to drop because your attention span is completely irreversibly fried. You are sitting there trying to analyze high IQ narrative themes while drinking gas station energy drinks loaded with toxic artificial dyes, massive sugar spikes, and maltodextrin that literally crashes your cognitive function after 30 minutes. You are artificially lobotomizing yourself, just like the Knights Moralists. If you actually want to keep up with the agenda and intelligently defend your favorite character in the comments, you need to fix your biological baseline. I've partnered with Dubby Energy. They use a clean, jitter-free, crash-free formula powered by specialized coffee fruit extract and essential amino acids to give you actual, sustained laser focus, without the sugar or the corporate BS ingredients. Use the promo code Seemlytuber at the link in the description to instantly upgrade your brain function and support the channel. Now, let's get back to the manipulative sociopathy of the Atelier, which brings us to Act 2 and the absolute meltdown of the anime community during the Spring 2026 broadcast. When episode 8 of the anime dropped, the anime-only viewers finally started to realize that something was horribly, terribly wrong with Qifrey. During a critical moment, Qifrey casually and ruthlessly erases the memory of a character named Nolnoa to protect his own secrets. He performs the exact same horrific mind-wiping violation that the fascist Knights Moralists use, but he does it with a completely blank, cold expression. The forums exploded. Fans were comparing him to Sho Tucker from Full Metal Alchemist. They realized that this entire gentle father routine, making breakfast, being patient, never raising his voice, is an elaborate, heavily manufactured mask. Qifrey has a deeply traumatic past, and his entire existence is consumed by an absolute insatiable thirst for revenge against a radical faction of dark magic users known as the Brimmed Caps. The Brimmed Caps practice forbidden magic that alters the human body, leading to horrific biological mutations. Coco, completely by accident, has become entangled with the Brimmed Caps. The mastermind of the Brimmed Caps, Igwin, was the one who sold Coco the magic book when she was a child. They are actively watching her. A standard, moral, heroic mentor would immediately hide Coco away, inform the authorities, and ensure she is kept as far away from the terrorist organization as possible. What does Qifrey do? He intentionally keeps her close. He hides her from the police, not to protect her, but because he knows the Brimmed Caps will eventually come for her. He is willingly placing his entire classroom of young, vulnerable children in the direct crosshairs of a lethal terrorist organization, simply because it allows him to get closer to his target. He smiles warmly at them during dinner, while actively orchestrating a scenario where they are hunted by psychopaths. It is an unhinged, deeply Machiavellian level of manipulation. Now let's move to Act 3 and expose exactly why Qifrey's strategy is so dangerous. The psychology of unbound curiosity. Why is a massive, powerful terrorist organization completely obsessed with a 12-year-old girl? Why did Igwin intentionally hand Coco that magical picture book? Because the Brimmed Caps understand a fundamental truth about human psychology and the hard magic system of this universe. In Witch Hot Atelier, magic is essentially computer programming. You draw geometric circles with magical ink. If you are raised inside the traditional pointed cap society, you are deeply, fundamentally indoctrinated from birth. You are taught that certain magic is impossible, evil, and forbidden. Your imagination is placed inside a strict, heavily regulated box. You literally lack the creative capacity to invent new dangerous spells because your brain has been hardwired by propaganda to follow the rules. But Coco is an outsider. She wasn't raised with these strict mental blockades. She was raised in ignorance, which means her imagination is completely unbound. Egwene specifically groomed her because getting an outsider into magic opens up infinite possibilities for terrifying innovation. Because she doesn't know the traditional rules of magic, she constantly invents wildly unorthodox solutions to problems. She is a hacker rewriting the source code of reality. The Brim Caps don't just want Coco's power, they want to weaponize her unregulated innocent curiosity. Qifrey knows exactly how dangerous this is. He knows Coco is a walking, breathing anomaly that threatens to destabilize the entire 800-year-old societal structure, and he uses that immense danger to flush his enemies out of hiding. So, why is Qifrey willing to sacrifice his own morality and risk the lives of children to hunt this organization down? We enter Act 4, The Trauma of the Stolen Eye, revealed in Chapter 36. The Brimmed Caps aren't just generic bad guys, they are intimately tied to Qifrey's horrific past. As a child, qifrey was the victim of the Brimmed Caps' horrific experiments with forbidden, body-altering magic. They buried him alive in a coffin. They literally stole his right eye and part of his memories. But the deepest manga theories point to something even darker. They didn't just take his eye, they planted the seed of the silver tree, the plant used to make magical ink, inside his head. This creates a horrifying biological paradox. Whenever Qifrey feels genuine happiness, the seed takes root and threatens to consume him. His entire gentle demeanor is a desperate coping mechanism to mask a man who is physically and mentally broken on the inside. He wears spectacles that obscure his missing eye, acting as a physical representation of his dual nature, half light, half dark. This is where the genius of the writing truly shines. The story introduces Olrugio, the watchful eye of the Atelier and Qifrey's lifelong best friend. Olrugio looks gruff, grumpy, and intimidating, but Olrugio is actually the one who genuinely, fiercely cares about the safety of the children. Olrugio represents true, unfiltered kindness wrapped in a rough exterior, while Qifrey represents pure, Machiavellian obsession wrapped in a warm, comforting smile. Qifrey hates himself for using his students as pawns, but his trauma fundamentally prevents him from stopping. He is a tragic, beautiful villain masquerading as a hero, which brings us to Act 5 and the inevitable comparison the 2026 anime community is constantly fighting over: Qifrey versus Satoru Gojo. When Witch Hat Atelier dropped, fans immediately compared these two. They are both handsome, white-haired, blindfolded, or spectacled mentors who defy conservative magical authorities and take in an illegal apprentice marked for execution. But the fundamental difference between them is exactly what makes Qifrey the superior, infinitely more complex character. Satoru Gojo operates from a position of absolute godlike supremacy. Gojo protects his students by defying the higher-ups because he is physically untouchable. He doesn't have to play dirty because he can just punch a hole through reality whenever he wants. Qifrey is not the strongest wizard in the world. He is highly skilled, yes, but he is fundamentally vulnerable. He cannot physically overpower the entire Knights Moralists or the Brimmed Caps. Because he lacks absolute physical power, he has to rely entirely on espionage, deception, and psychological manipulation. Gojo tries to foster a strong next generation to fix the world. Qifrey manipulates the next generation because he isn't strong enough to achieve his revenge alone. Gojo's arrogance is a shield. Qifrey's kindness is a weapon. It is a much darker, much more realistic, and infinitely more compelling take on the mentor archetype. Kiritsuga Emiya from Fate Zero would look at Qifrey's utilitarian manipulation of children and give him a standing ovation. So why is the discourse around Qifrey dominating the internet right now? Because as we navigate the incredibly turbulent anime era of 2026, the adaptation of this masterpiece has finally arrived, and it completely embarrassed the rest of the industry. On April 6, 2026, Witch Hat Atelier made its highly anticipated debut, and the production context behind this release is an absolute miracle for the industry. In an era where studios like MAPPA and Ufotable are infamously crushing their animators under impossible deadlines to churn out seasonal content, Studio Bug Films did the unthinkable. The anime was originally supposed to release in 2025, but Bug Films officially delayed the project. They publicly announced that they needed more time to ensure the highest possible quality and absolute fidelity to the intensely detailed magical visuals of Kamame Shirahama's manga. Director Ayumu Watanabe explicitly went on record explaining the unique challenges of adapting this series. He highlighted that adapting such a dense, beautifully paneled manga requires immense time, not to cut information, but to correctly amplify the character descriptions and express the subtle, terrifying, psychological nuances hidden between the lines of qifrey's dialogue. This delay proves that Bug Films is actually treating this IP with the immense respect it deserves. They didn't treat it like a cheap cash grab. When you have a magic system built entirely on the microscopic precision of ink on paper, you cannot afford rushed, sloppy animation. Witch Hat Atelier proves that taking your time, protecting your animators, and respecting the source material will always undeniably yield a superior product compared to the rushed fast food anime that currently dominates the market. Qifrey didn't take Coco in because he wanted to be a good teacher. He took her in because he needed a hunting dog, proving that the most dangerous villains in anime are the ones who make you breakfast in the morning. But I am passing the question directly to you to settle this massive cross-verse agenda once and for all. Who is actually the more toxic, manipulative mentor? Is Satoru Gojo a failure for raising child soldiers to fight his battles while relying purely on his invincible stats? Or is Qifrey objectively more psychopathic for actively hiding Coco from the authorities and knowingly using her as live bait for a terrorist organization? I already know the Gojo Glazers and the dark fantasy purists are going to absolute war in the comments right now over this reality check. Drop your best, most toxic arguments, your detailed psychological character analyses, and your agenda memes down in the comments below. Let's see who can actually defend Qifrey's grooming tactics, and I'll pin the absolute best, most analytically sound argument to the top of the comment section.